doesn't get more nostalgic than that. Hey ink drinkers, welcome back to my channel. So I thought I would do a little impromptu reading vlog because the next book I'm reading is promising and it's perfect for old school April. It is Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. I've heard a lot about this book and I finally picked it up recently, and so I thought, why not read it for old school April? We've got the old school technology right on the front. It doesn't get more nostalgic than that. I have about an hour and a half left in my current read, which is Coffin Dodger by Damian Casey, which is also a great nostalgic read. It's got an old school looking cover on it, some old school art, as well as kind of time jumps. It jumps between timelines, and it's been a great read so far. So I am looking forward to finishing that, but I thought I'd make this vlog all about Horror Movie. In June 1993, a group of young guerrilla filmmakers spent 4 weeks making Horror Movie, a notorious, disturbing art house horror flick. The weird part? Only 3 of the film's scenes were ever released to the public, but Horror Movie has nevertheless grown a rabid fan base. 3 decades later, Hollywood is pushing for a big budget reboot. The man who played the thin kid is the only surviving cast member. He remembers all too well the secrets buried within the original screenplay, the bizarre events of the filming, and the dangerous crossed lines on set that resulted in tragedy. As memories flood back in, the boundaries between reality and film, past and present, start to blur. But he's going to help remake the film, even if it means navigating a world of cynical producers, egomaniacal, egotistical, egomaniacal directors, and surreal fan conventions. Demons of the past be damned, but at what cost? So the plan is to read the first chapter and then check in with you to let you know what I'm thinking, just dipping my toes in, and then we'll discuss more as we go. But first I want to finish Coffin Dodger and we'll take it from there. Hey there, it is the next day. I did not get to Horror Movie until today. It took me a lot longer to read my previous book than I expected, just because life is life and I've got kids, I've got a husband, I've got other things going on. So don't know why my silly brain thought that an hour and a half of reading could be accomplished within one evening. Sometimes it can happen, but it usually doesn't. So I had to finish that up. But I read the first chapter and part of the second chapter. I'm probably about halfway through the second chapter. Good thing about this book, the chapters seem to be pretty short from what I can gather. I'm trying not to spoil anything for myself, so I don't want to look too deeply into chapters and things like that. I really like the setup of this book. Hang on, let me find the title page. It's really cool. So the first chapter is in the present, and it's just talking about the main character meeting up with a producer. He's had others reach out to him in the past to do like a reboot or a remake of the movie he was in back in the 90s. And the whole first chapter was definitely relatable in that I see so many remakes now, so many reboots of so many movies. They're either turning them into shows, they're redoing the movies, they're basically copying the movies but bringing them into the present time. It's just like the thing now, which is kind of annoying, but sometimes it's kind of exciting, I do have to say. Sometimes these reboots and things like that are kind of exciting. For example, I really loved the latest version of Frankenstein, but I am a huge Del Toro fan, so like he can do no wrong in my book. So I mean, Sometimes it's good, but usually it's just kind of like, come on, come up with something fresh and new and inventive. And I know there's nothing new under the sun technically, but we don't have to keep regurgitating the same storylines over and over and over again, do we? I don't know. It just kind of gets a little bit old. I want something fresh. At the same time, I'm definitely one of those people who likes to watch their comfort shows and movies over and over and over again. So I don't know. Maybe it's slightly hypocritical of me to say, can we stop redoing everything? But sometimes they try to recreate that magic of the original movie or TV show or whatever, and it just falls flat. Sometimes it works out to be better than the original, but when the original is really good, stop touching it. That's my opinion. Don't touch it. After I went off on that tangent, he is kind of talking about how everyone's wanting to put their own twist on this movie and bring it into the current day, and they want to involve him, but not too much. And he's just kind of talking about how pretentious these people can be and just the audacity. There's so much to unpack in that first chapter that I couldn't possibly talk about it now. Anyway, the second chapter, let me find it, brings us back to the first day that they met up, I believe, to film, or maybe it was just the reading. Yes, the first day of filming for the original movie back in 1993. And so that's pretty fun. They're kind of just getting to know the characters here. And also, something fun about this book that I'm enjoying, I don't want to lose my spot, so I'm being really careful. They've got the screenplay here, and you can see, from what I can see, the screenplay is part of all of the back then chapters, the then chapters from the 90s. And so that's kind of exciting. I like that it's set up this way. We'll see how it works out. So far, I don't have a solid opinion. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far. I did have to kind of reread the first sentence or two in the book because my brain was not comprehending what I was reading. But I think it was more, I just needed to jump from one style of writing to the next. I don't know if anyone else struggles with that, but if I am reading something that is written in a certain style and then I jump into a new book like right away, which I tend to do, it takes me a good few chapters to really get the swing of things and understand the new author's voice, because Paul Tremblay is a new to me author, so I am not familiar with his voice yet, but I am getting there, and I think I like where this is going. Again, I'm only 1.5 chapters in, so there's a whole book ahead of me, but that's how I'm feeling so far. I'm going to read some more and, live life, and I'll check in again soon. Hey, I'm finally here with a midpoint check-in. It's been busy, as you could see. I did a couple ride-alongs with my husband while he drove a truck for work, and so I was able to finally get to this point in the book because during our breaks I would read. So that's one of the many benefits of tagging along with Jeff while he works. So I am now on page 150. And so that's a little bit past the midway point. I wanted to stop at the end of a chapter because, you know, that's what a lot of us do. My thoughts on this book so far. I still don't have a solid opinion on whether I like it or not. I mean, it's not that I don't like it. It's just kind of out of my typical realm. And I feel like I say that a lot. So I don't even know if I have a typical realm at this point. But I'm in kind of unfamiliar territory while being in familiar territory. So the setup is really cool. I like it. I was wrong about the screenplays being placed within the then chapters. They're placed in both now and then chapters. Not every chapter has one, but it is kind of something that slowly helps to answer questions about now and then, or just kind of give you more of the story. So I think that's really cool. I like that a lot. I'm just confused about whether I like any of the characters or not, to be honest. There was one point in the book where the main character is kind of pointing out that if they do things a certain way, everybody becomes the villain, and I kind of feel like everybody already is the villain. That's just my thought so far. I have a couple of quotes I'd like to read to you, and then I'm going to keep moving because this is going to be the longest video I've ever made, I have a feeling. But I had so much fun on my rides with Jeff that I had to include the B-roll in that, and you may see more of it. I may go on some more rides with him as time and babysitters allow. One of the quotes I really liked was, "I think most of us have our personality, our character plainly etched in a wordless language on the skins of our faces, as obvious as a bleeding heart on a sleeve." One more quote that I really like could possibly be a spoiler because it does include something that's happening within the story. So I will try to remember to put chapters in this video so that you can skip ahead if you don't want any spoilers. But I had to read it because I really liked it. "He focuses on the mannequin, and we wonder along with the thin kid, what is the mannequin for? Is it going to replace the thin kid? He and we can't help but jump to the conclusion that we're all replaceable, expendable." There is a whole lot to like about this. There's a whole lot that kind of makes me a little squeamish in a very real world way. And then not against the author in any way, just about how people can be and how people can treat each other, that sort of thing. So I struggle with that a little bit. That's not lessening the value of the story in any way. It's just causing a reaction from me, I suppose. And then I don't know how I feel about the characters. There's really no single character that I feel a connection with, which is fine. You don't always have to feel connections with the characters, but it really does help me to connect to the story in some way as well. I am a very big fan of character-driven stories, and this feels very character-driven, but in a way that is just not connecting with me. I don't know how else to explain that. And I hate saying anything negative about books. It really makes me feel really awkward and want to, crawl out of my skin. But we've got to be honest as well. So, that is what it is. I have mad respect for this author. I have mad respect for all authors, whether I connect with a book that they've written or not. I know it takes countless hours of hard work, imagination, dedication, research, and starting over and over and over again until you get it just right. I have high respect for Paul Tremblay. Yes, I'm enjoying the story. I just don't know how much I'm connecting with it at this point. So I'll read further and check in with you again soon. The end. I am finally done with horror movie, and do I have a lot of thoughts on this? Not really. I'm still kind of in limbo on how I feel about it. There's a lot of things that impressed me, and there's a lot that just, like I said before, didn't connect with me. I'm kind of in the same boat I was in the beginning, in the middle, and now the end. I will give this a 3-star rating because I do think there's a lot that is great about it, but it just wasn't one of my favorite reads. I liked it, I didn't love it, and I always hate to say that, but it's a 3-star rating, so that's still good. That is still a good rating. It's just not one of my favorite reads, that's all. There was one passage that I really want to read to you. Again, it might be a little bit of a spoiler, not a complete spoiler. So if you want to skip this part, go ahead. In this part, they have him in like a plaster cast type thing to kind of fit him for a mask that he's going to wear for the newer movie. And so these are just kind of some thoughts he's having while he's sitting there and can't really do much else other than close his eyes and think. What if they leave me inside the cocoon overnight in what could be an added early scene for the new version of horror movie? I think about scribbling a picture on the notebook, an attempt to replicate the random drawing of the open-mouthed bird. I think it was a bird, maybe it was something else, emerging from a cocoon that I made when I was 8. Maybe the artist sensed my tension and unease because they increase their chatter, pat my arm, and tell me I'm doing great. I give a thumbs up, but I don't feel like I'll ever emerge from this cocoon. Maybe that's for the best. I'm a bug in amber to be kept in stasis for eons. Or I'm safely buried in the ice of a glacier, but it'll melt because everything is melting, and once I'm set free, watch out. I try to arch a lip or twitch an eyelid, and I can't. I wonder if there is a way to make the cast with eye holes as well as nostril holes. Too late now, obviously. If my eyes were open, then this would have been like wearing another mask. I'm used to wearing masks. The plaster hardens and the trapped feeling intensifies. I promise myself that when this and the movie are done and finished, I will escape and roam and cross distances and fill spaces. I promise myself that I will be free. I feel like that has much deeper meaning than him just being in the cast. It's got much deeper meaning than just his character alone. I feel like it can speak to the depths of all of us if we pay close attention to what he is saying and how he is feeling. So I just thought that was a really good passage and wanted to share it with you. And then there's just one quick little sentence that I was like, yep. The problem when you foolishly think one thing has meaning, you then think everything has meaning. And while I agree, I also kind of disagree because I feel like everything does have meaning. So am I a weird conspiracy theorist? Am I strange for thinking that there's meaning behind everything? I don't know. Do you think there's meaning behind everything? Or do you think some things happen and it has nothing to do with anything? It just happens. I don't know. While it's hard to explain those hard things, because Lord knows I've been through the hard things and I want to know the reasons behind them, I feel like sometimes coming out of it, I can find that reason. And I don't know. Then again, I struggle to know, like, what's the reason for innocent children suffering? What's the reason for innocent animals suffering? That's where I kind of question things. And I think it's really important. Soapbox. I think it's really important to question everything. I think it's important to keep an open mind enough that you're not stuck in something that ends up becoming a lie. Because when we do that, it is so jarring that it can destroy us. I know that from experience. And so I really, the past, I don't know, I want to say like 10 years, maybe a little longer, I've just tried to keep an open mind about a lot of things. There are some things I am steadfast in because my experience has showed me this is the truth. But there are a lot of things that I try to see all sides on, try to see all views on, whether it's an argument or just, you know, people trying to figure out how things work. So, I don't know. I encourage you to keep an open mind. And that definitely paid off for this, because I think if I hadn't had an open mind, I wouldn't have liked it as much as I did, just because it's not the type of story that typically speaks to me. Again, I didn't connect with any of the characters very deeply. While some of the quotes in here resonated with me, overall, none of the characters really did. I think this is a polarizing book for a reason. Some people can connect to it, some people can't. I've seen reviews from people I follow that absolutely loved it and gave it 5 stars and shouted its praises from the rooftops. And then I know people that absolutely loathed this book. So I'm kind of somewhere in between. Now the question is, will I read more Paul Tremblay in the future? And yes, I will. I've heard great things about his earlier works, and I'm really interested in reading some more of his work. One thing I did love, and I talked about this before, was the way he set this up. And I think in certain ways it made it feel a little bit repetitive, but in other ways it opened your eyes to new viewpoints that you might not have otherwise had he not had like the screenplay sections in here and all that. I think it was an excellent idea. I think that maybe if I opened my mind a little bit more, it would have resonated with me a little bit more. But overall, I don't regret reading it. It was worth the read. I'm glad I finally dived into a Paul Tremblay book. I know a lot of people love him. And so yes, I will definitely read another Paul Tremblay book in the future. What's up next for this channel? I've got an April wrap-up that I will be doing. I do not have another check-in for Old School April because that kind of fell just a couple days before the end of the month. So I decided just to include the things that I got into this last week and a half or whatever in that. So I will do the April wrap up, and I will also have a May possibilities video. We've got Zombie-thon coming up. I do not plan on reading anything for Zombie-thon. I could change my mind, but I do have some books that I'd like to get to, possibly. May possibilities, and then some zombie movies I'm looking into. But again, like I said before, I'm keeping an open mind, and I'm going to just kind of leave things open. That's why I love the word possibilities, because nothing is set in stone. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope I didn't ramble too much, and you know, apparently I get on a soapbox if I've got things to say or thoughts in my head, but hopefully we're still friends and you want to come back and see what else I get into. Please let me know if you've read Horror Movie and what you thought of it, or if you want to. Please do not let me keep you from reading it just because it wasn't a favorite of mine. But again, it wasn't a terrible experience either. Somewhere in the middle. Thank goodness for the great books and for the books that make you think about things just a little bit. Until next time, cheers.